Welcome back to the National Hurricane Center. This is Ken Graham in our operations area. I wanted to give you the latest update on several systems that we're looking at. We're watching several tropical storms, and you get into a situation with Hurricane Grace and Tropical Storm Henri. I mean, it's just a lot of impacts here, and that's what we're going to cover during this broadcast. So the first one we're talking about, remember we talked about Grace a few days ago. We're still dealing with Grace and some impacts to Mexico with the heavy rain and also the storm surge. But you start looking at Henri, and that's where we're talking about some big impacts to the northeast United States, and located right here. A couple things to look at. We've got aircraft in both of these systems looking at the latest, giving us a fix on where the center is and helping us out with the wind. So we've got the hurricane hunters out there, and another salute to the hurricane hunters getting this information so we can bring you the latest forecast on these systems. Let's start off here with Hurricane Grace. Wanted to mention it because we do have viewers in Mexico looking at some of these winds. Look at the large swath of tropical storm force winds around Grace. Just a large area of winds. We got the hurricane warning out for portions of the Mexico coast. So rainfall, storm surge, and wind. Listen to those local officials in these areas because there can be significant impacts associated with Hurricane Grace. 85-mile-an-hour winds. So that's what we're looking at associated with this system. I will show you the next one. Here's the latest information. 65 miles an hour on Tropical Storm Henri. 7 miles an hour movement, so slow. It's moving really slow at the current time, and we talk about how how close the dots are together means the speed pretty far apart, but I want to focus on they get tighter together, closer together. The storm slows down with time. So here we are, 11 o'clock on Friday. This is 8 a.m. on Saturday, 8 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. Sunday. So we're looking at the weekend. So if you have travel plans, could be some big impacts to that travel. Please pay attention to the local officials, pay attention to the forecast, and get the latest information, because during the day on Sunday, this hurricane, forecast to become a hurricane with time, less shear, more opportunity to strengthen a hurricane pretty close to the Rhode Island, Connecticut, up into Massachusetts, where we have those hurricane watches up at the current time. So please pay attention to the latest information. On Sunday, the system slows down, and that could prolong the rainfall, increase the chance for flooding, and definitely an impact to the wind. Down trees, power lines. So there's some significant impacts associated with this system into the weekend. So once again, I repeat, if you got travel plans, New York City, you're headed out to Long Island, or in Boston, you're headed out to the Cape. People that live in these areas, pay attention to the latest forecast, because there could be some significant impacts associated. Let's look at the timing again. Remember, it's really important. It's not just right around that center, that the winds are well out ahead of it too. So you look at the timing here. By Sunday morning, some of these tropical storm force winds are already reaching the coast. So we're not, we talk about landfall during the day on Sunday, later Sunday, but those winds extend well out from it. So Connecticut, even over in New Jersey, New York City could get some tropical storm force wind gusts out towards Rhode Island, Cape Cod in Massachusetts, Boston, even New Hampshire. Any of these areas could start seeing some of those winds starting Sunday morning. So really got to pay attention, and the highest probabilities for those winds are in orange and also the red. That's right around that core of the center of the storm. Here are some of the impacts. One of them that we always have to talk about is just the rainfall. Significant amount of rain associated. Remember, we looked at that track. Remember that slowdown? That's what's going to cause more rainfall. The slower you are, the more time it is to accumulate this rain. Right now, 4 to 6 inches in some areas, even higher amounts possible. Just a large area, 2 to 4 inches, 5, 6 inches. The takeaway here is the soil is going to get saturated. Some places it's already saturated, anywhere around Connecticut, Hartford, Rhode Island, up into to Boston. So put some winds on top of that, and you're going to knock down a lot of trees. You're going to have power outages. You just have to be ready for this storm. Really got to look at some of these impacts. Flooded roadways, gusty winds on bridges, gusty winds on the surface, just something we really have to pay attention to. The other part is storm surge. Any one of these systems, you can have significant amounts of storm surge around New Jersey, 1 to 3 feet. Some of the storm surge in some of those areas. Not every place. This is really looking at the peak storm surge in some areas, those most susceptible areas. Not every spot's going to get these storm surge values, but some of those traditional spots will get some values. 1 to 3 feet in New Jersey, 2 to 4 feet portions of Long Island, and also into the Long Island Sound. What happens is that water gets pushed into the sound, and even if the hurricane and tropical storm, the winds associated, even when it passes, it can push out of the north, some of that water to even looking at the south shore of the Sound. So it's not just the north shore, the south shore. So if you're in those areas, just be mindful. What's initially some of the storm surge could change with time associated with the wind. So really pay attention to this. Listen to those local officials. 2 to 4 feet of storm surge is significant. Not every spot, but those traditional low-lying spots, you got to listen to those local officials and be mindful of that. 3 to 5 feet, even higher, right along the center and the right-hand side. Narragansett Bay, 3 to 5 feet. Buzzards Bay, 3 to 5 feet. Again, not every area. Nantucket Sound, 3 to 5 feet, all the way up to Cape Cod Bay. So any one of these areas, significant amount of storm surge. Please listen to those local officials. And Dennis, I want to go back to one thing and reiterate this in the forecast, and I think it's important to talk about it. Please, there's no such thing as just a tropical storm or just a Cat 1 hurricane, okay? Significant impacts associated with this as it makes its way towards New England. You got the heavy rain, you got downed power lines, you got power outages, and listen, we lose a lot of people every year because of how, carbon monoxide poisoning. It's generators. And so if you're going to have a generator, please, ahead of time with these power outages, please review the safety associated with the usage of those generators. Let's use them properly so we don't have any carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's the key, rainfall and storm surge. Listen to those local officials. I think I've got it covered, but the big takeaway here is, listen, pay attention to this one. Whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane, either way, it's going to be some big impacts going into the weekend. Today's Friday, so everyone's making their plans getting into the weekend. Make the weather part of your plans into this weekend, and let's keep safe together. So this has been Ken Graham right here at the National Hurricane Center. We'll keep you updated over the entire weekend on the latest on this system, and be safe out there.